I was in the chat of John Sandman, and he responded to a couple of my messages. So yeah, we're pretty much best friends now. Hello and welcome to another training rant video. So what I do in a training rant video is I train in Rocket League where I talk about a subject that's been on my mind lately. And what's been on my mind lately is the topic of parasocial relationships. I'll give you a quick explanation of what a parasocial relationship is. Involving or relating to a connection between a person and someone they do not know personally. Today though, I'm going to be using it in the context of like influencers, of streamers or YouTubers, people that you watch and you like, that you watch on your little screen. And not only do you admire them, you want to reach out. You want to, like, I don't know, in some way be recognized by them, like that Notice Me Senpai stuff, you know what I mean? You either want to be recognized by them or you want to interact with them. You want to be, in a way, part of their lives or like be recognized by them in some way. To give you a little backstory that might explain my way of thinking on this subject, I'm pretty old. I'm a pretty old guy, so I'm pretty old school. I didn't really have internet until I was 26, and that was like in 2010, 2011. That's when I really started to use the internet, specifically YouTube, and when I started to get into YouTubers and content creators. Back then, they were even called influencers. And back then, the term parasocial relationships wasn't even coined. Even though I started feeling what a parasocial relationship was as soon as I began to get into YouTube heavily. And I remember back then I didn't know what it was called, but I remember in 2011, 2012, the first channels that I really developed a parasocial relationship with was Smosh games. Back when they had the O Squad with Joven, Mari, and Lasercorn and Sohenki, those people. That's when I really started to get into game channels. And the other one was iDubbbz. And the other one was not only iDubbbz, Olga K, which at the time was his girlfriend, and Wishy Waiter. These are really old school YouTubers, by the way. I'll be surprised if people know them, although some people might know them. Anyway, I remember, coming into the internet for the first time and just watching these videos of Smosh games. And I used to chip like characters like the members of Smosh games. I used to ship Joven with Mari for some reason. I would ship everybody with Mari because she was basically the only female at the cast at the moment. And I was invested. I was invested in like their relationships. And stupid me thought that if they talk to each other and they laugh with each other, it means they instantly they like each other. Like, oh, there's a relationship there. Oh, is that going? They're going, but that was cuffed. Honestly, I was invested in them, and I remember I really liked iDubbbz at that time. This was before all the allegations and his channel went to shit. You know what I mean? This was back when iDubbbz was popping with his nugget biscuit, nugget in a biscuit. Remember? You guys remember that? And you guys remember? Do you like my sword, my diamond sword, bro? That was like peak 2012 or like 2011 for me. Yeah, I was a big fan of iDubbbz. And I remember I saw some guy criticizing iDubbbz because iDubbbz was so big at the time that he attracted a lot of haters too. Dude, and I remember going to the comment section and just staring into this guy who was just giving his opinion on the internet about some guy. You know what I mean? I just remember tearing him apart. I mean, making fun of it, the way he looked. I was making fun of his room, the posters that he had on his room. I was saying he was jealous of iDubbbz because he was never gonna. He was just criticizing because he was jealous. He's just a jealous hater, dude. I would never do that nowadays. It's so cringe. But I didn't even know I was so invested in these people that I had in my mind I had some kind of parasocial relationship with them. You know what? I was defending them like they were my friends or something. But after that, I did that for a little while, and then I started to realize, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I don't know these people. Like, why am I so attached to these people? And I started to realize that, a big reason that influencers became a thing and YouTube content creators became really popular is because of that, the parasocial relationships that they established with their viewers, with their fan base. I remember one guy that really took advantage of that was PewDiePie. I remember when PewDiePie wasn't quite as big as he is now. Like, he's like a renowned superstar now on YouTube. Back then, he was still doing like horror videos and gaining an audience. And I remember he started with that Bro Army stuff, like, oh, Bro Army, and he would fist bump the Bro Army, and that created like a very parasocial relationship with him and his fan base that really paid off for him and really made him big. So that aspect of like parasocial relationship with the viewers and all that, it's really become a major factor with influencers, you know what I mean? And you can see it in the way they do their content even, because they're always thinking about, oh, what does Chad want me to do? What does Chad want me to say? Chad, they're always asking about the opinion of the Chad, and that decides their content and how they're gonna act and all that, to an extent. And I'm not saying all creators do this, all right? But I'm saying that it's a pretty common thing to acknowledge and kind of live by the parasocial relationship that you establish with your viewer base. This whole concept of like parasocial relationships, I'm affected by it. I sometimes indulge it a little bit, but not too often, because see, I for the most part, oh, double tap, nice. Because see, for the most part, I'm a guy that I'm very detached from the people that entertain me, from the people that I watch on my screen. I honestly think, this is my opinion for most of it, I honestly think that content creators should do whatever they want. They shouldn't abide by the rules of their fan base. They could do whatever they want. And it's just, this is something that I picked up from music artists, you know what I mean? Because for example, I'm a big fan of the Pixies, right? And for the longest time before they started making music again, and when they started making music again, their music wasn't exactly as their old content. You know, it wasn't the same. It wasn't as good. I'm gonna be honest. It's still not as good as it used to be, right? But I remember hearing a lot of people saying like, oh, why can't they just go back and do what the fans love? Like just you know, live to service me, your fan. Do whatever I ask of you. I mean, I'm the reason you're popular in the first place. I'm the reason you're acknowledged in the first place. So just please me. And when I started like listening to that, I used to share that mindset. But when I started hearing other people say it so much, I became aware of how flawed that argument is. And I started to take the other approach. The approach is like content creators, music artists, whatever. All these people that are entertainers, they should just follow whatever they want to do. Whatever is their passion at the moment, they should do that. You know what I mean? They shouldn't do fan service. They just to please the audience. You can see that with iDubbbz. Most recently, like iDubbbz used to do like a lot of, I would say not mean spirited, I guess, a lot of critiques to people in the internet with Content Cop and all that. And he completely changed his attitude towards that, right? And now people are like hating him, like, oh, dude, just go back to what you were. And even though I would say that his content used to be better, you know what I mean? I still support him going to whatever direction he wants creatively. But back to the parasocial relationships. Like I said, I'm pretty old school, so I like the idea of artists doing whatever they want, right? I don't like when the audience particularly influence what they do. But lately I've been on TikTok a lot, okay? And TikTok has kind of changed my mind towards streamers and all that a little bit. Like I was watching a stream recently on TikTok of some girl, and it was a live stream. She wasn't that popular or anything, and I was just in the stream talking with her and the people there in the community, and I had a good time. You know what I mean? And that has happened to me a few times. Like I said in the beginning, I remember I watched John Sandman on Twitch, and one thing that I really like about John Sandman and his Twitch and how he approaches his chat is John Sandman reads anybody in his chat. If you make an interesting comment in his chat, he will read it and he will respond to it. It doesn't matter if you're sub, it doesn't matter if you're like a high tier sub or anything. You could be a high tier sub, or you could just be a guy there for the first time, and he will respond to everybody equally. On contrast, though, I went to Athena's Twitch chat, and she literally didn't respond to anybody who except to her high tier subs. She only like pay attention to her high tier subs, and that bothered me for some reason, because I contrasted with John, and how John you was acknowledging everybody, and how Athena was just acknowledging her subs. And I'm not gonna lie, for like I said, it bothered me a little bit. A few days after though, I realized, like, dude, why am I so entitled? Why does she have to answer to me? You know, it really brought to light again this whole parasocial relationship that I was trying to develop with her. Like, she has to acknowledge me, and you don't acknowledge me, some random guy in your chat, I'm gonna be disappointed in you, whatever. And the thing is, I understand what you get out of this, you know what I mean? And in some cases, you may have like you may develop a parasocial relationship with a guy that some big streamer that you know. He might respond to your comments or whatever, and you're like, oh cool, dude. You kind of feel this need or this want to be in their lives or have them pay attention to you. I kind of understand that, and sometimes it's not just them, sometimes it's the community around them that you can enjoy talking to the chat there, and I understand that. But at the same time, how do I say this? I enjoy parasocial relationships in small quantities, if that makes any sense. For example, I follow a couple of streamers on TikTok. I don't really watch streamers unless it's on TikTok, because TikTok, I think, is just more practical. How do I say this? The interface in TikTok is designed to it's designed for you to quickly move to another content, and you pay attention to a lot of people there. You know what I mean? While on Twitch, if you're on Twitch, you're basically watching just one streamer, and you're kind of stuck there. And on YouTube, it's the same. You know what I mean? But in Twitch, the kind of way that in TikTok, the kind of way that the TikTok is made is that you can just swap from content and go from content to content and find whatever you like, and you can sit there in a stream and chill for a bit, and then go watch, I don't know, more cat videos or something. More in my case, it's Rocket League videos, because somehow and thankfully I found like a little community of people in TikTok that do Rocket League stuff, and they're very nice. We support each other, we support our videos. It's because YouTube is not constructed the same way as TikTok. In TikTok, whenever somebody likes you, you can see them, they like you, you can see if they view your profile, you can see who they are when they like your video. And YouTube, that doesn't really show you everybody. It's not as personal on YouTube. And on YouTube, you're just a viewer, a nameless viewer. On YouTube, TikTok, you can see that person being a viewer, and you can see the same person like watching your videos all the time, and you can see that same person probably make content like you. And I think it's nice that when you see a person like that, it's always like supporting you, and you watch them and they do, oh damn it, and you watch them and you realize they make the same content as you. In my mind, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna support you too, because you're doing the same stuff to me, and that's nice. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, why do I keep missing? But anyway, back to parasocial relationships. Like I said, I like it in small quantities, but I really don't understand how a person can be in somebody's chat every day, or feel like a really strong need to be in that person's life. Like, they're just a creator. Why do you have to be in their life all the time? You know what I mean? What do you feel that I don't understand that if you have a strong need for it, you know what I mean? Or maybe if you're obsessed, because some people do get obsessed with content creators, and they follow them everywhere and whatever, and they want to be a part of their lives. It's like extreme fanatism, I would say it. You know what I mean? I don't understand that need. You know what I mean? To me, these people, even at this point that I am in my life, I don't get obsessed with anybody, right? You know what I mean? Even when I watch some streamers, I feel a little weird, honestly, to be honest with you, because I'm in the chat and everybody's sucking up to the streamer, or they're making a little bit, they're teasing them a little, making jokes about them, and it feels like you're competing for their attention with all these people in chat, and that's something that I don't particularly want to do, and it's something that I find a little bit weird sometimes. Like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch streamers a lot, honestly. The only streamer that I watch is Destiny, and I don't watch his streams. I watch his video stuff once they clip it, but I'm not there live actively whenever he's doing a stream. You know what I mean? And I don't particularly. And when it comes to streamers, I don't particularly like the big ones. I prefer the smaller ones. Like when I'm on TikTok watching a streamer, I tend to like the really chill people. Like the really chill people with just doing something chill. Like I remember I was following some lady and she was just knitting and talking about Star Wars series. And I had a good time just going in the chat and talking about Star Wars series with them. I don't obsess with this lady though. I don't stalk her. I don't even remember her name, honestly. But I had a good time there with her stream, you know what I mean? And in that case, I could just say that I'm enjoying a stream, but I'm not developing a parasocial relationship with them. I am to an extent, but it's not something that's, I don't know, toxic or it's like unconstructive. I don't know how to say it. I do follow other TikTok streamers. And basically, I follow guys that play RPGs or like they play old retro games. Like those streams tend to be very chill. And you tend to find a lot of old people there because they're playing retro games, and those are the people that are around my age. You know, I grew up playing Super Nintendo and all that, and most of the time, since they're old, they don't really act like obnoxious young people. Because honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of hate young people and their stupid trends that I don't even know what they are. They post memes on TikTok or whatever. They copy paste memes that I don't understand, and they're very irrelevant, and they act like idiots. I don't like them, honestly. I mean, I'm not opposed to somebody posting memes or anything like that, but I am opposed to people just coming into chat and acting like idiots or like irrelevant idiots trying to get attention in a negative sort of way. I also don't like simps and like this, because my God, dude, sometimes I watch girls on streams, and these girls, I'm not gonna say they're bad looking, they're good looking, but my God, dude, there's so many simps that would just drool over any basic girl. They don't have to be like supermodels or anything. They go in there to simp, and all their comments are like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You have so much beauty. You have beautiful eyes." And they're like, the girls at this point, they're desensitized to it. You're like, yeah, whatever, guy. And they say they have, and whenever they say they have a boyfriend, everybody in chat, all those people in chat are like, oh, and they still hit on her. They still hit on her. Like, I don't know, dude. Even if I am watching a really hot girl on a stream, I would never comment about her hotness or whatever. I don't think it's relevant at all to the conversations you're gonna have in chat. But yeah, like I said, it's something that I visit. This whole parasocial thing, it's something that I visit occasionally, but it's not something that it's a big part of my life. And whenever I visit it, it's like I question myself, like, what am I doing? What am I getting out of this? And what I'm getting out of it is some kind of acknowledgement from them, and I would say mostly it's just loneliness, I guess. I just want somebody to hang out with and talk with, even though I don't know them. You know what I mean? But it's not something that's very prevalent in my life. It's not something that I particularly need in my life. And I always wondered, because it's so common that people get sucked up into those parasocial relationships, I always wonder how they draw so much joy out of that. And I always wonder what's the negative side of that too. Because, you know, like I said with Athena did something that bothered me a little bit. And for a while I was mad at her, like some petty child. Like, oh, you didn't pay attention to me. Oh, because I'm not a high tier sub, so she only talks to high tier subs. It's so petty that I had that mindset, that I had that expectation from her. You know what I mean? That I put that on her. It's because, like I said, it's a negative drawback from that parasocial relationship that I was trying to establish with her, I guess. I'm gonna give you the extreme of it, and this is gonna sound mean, but I'm not trying to be mean, all right? I like the Game Grumps, right? I'm a big fan of the Game Grumps. I used to be a bigger fan. Now I'm more of like an Oni Plays kind of fan. I love Oni Plays, dude. And if I actually would have to start up a relationship with someone, it would be with Loud Wrath from Oni Plays. I love that guy, dude. I love that guy so much. But again, I don't feel the need to know him in real life. I do think he's cool. as hell, and I would love to know him in real life, but I don't want to develop this parasocial relationship with him over the internet or stalk him on Twitter or on Instagram or anything like that to try to be his friend or try to acknowledge me. That would feel weird. Like I said, I'm not into that. I'm old school. I'm not really into that. But anyways, I was saying about the Game Grumps. The Game Grumps have said, and not only them, Jacksepticeye did this too. They always use this example of the fans that write this big, like, heartfelt comment about, like, yeah, you know, I'm a fan of yours, and your content pulled me out of some dark times. I was feeling depressed, and you know, your content saved my life. And I'm thinking, dude, it's the Game Grumps. Really? I would understand this if the Game Grumps were like some sort of, like, you know, positive, like super positive kind of people, like those motivational speakers that are always trying to fix your life or stuff like that. I would understand that, but it's the Game Grumps. Like 90% of what they do is like toilet humor or whatever, stupid jokes, and you got people saying in the comments, they're like, oh, your content saved my life, dude. I'm being very cynical, all right? I know, but I'm so detached from those people that I cannot understand how a content creator saved your life or pulled you out of depression. I really cannot understand that. Because, like I said, I view them as entertainers. Like, to put so much weight on them, like they mean that much to you? And honestly, I'm very cynical. I'm very skeptical that these comments are real. I think a lot of people use those comments as this. Okay, I'm very, very cynical. Like I said, I think a lot of people use those comments as a way to get attention from them. And at this point, it has become a courtesy. A courtesy just to say something like that. Like for example, I was watching recently an old video of the Game Grumps. It's like they were celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and they had guests talking about, you know, how the Game Grumps influenced them and all that. And Jacksepticeye started speaking about the Game Grumps, and he said a lot of, you know, cool things about them. He said, you know, Game Grumps really influenced me, and I used to fall asleep watching Game Grumps, which is something that I did too back when I was really, really heavy into Game Grumps. But then he said that thing. He's like, oh yeah, your content pulled me out of the really dark times. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. But he said it, and the way he said it, you could tell it's just like, it's something you say out of courtesy. Like, you're almost obligated to say something like that to explain how meaningful their content is. And it really doesn't have to go that far. You can just say, I enjoy your content a lot, and I spent hours watching it, and you guys fill my life with joy. That's good enough. But once you make it into like, oh, you pulled me out of dark times and my depression and all that, I'm like, dude, you know, fuck you, honestly. Like I said, sorry, I'm very skeptical about this. Maybe there are some people who are genuinely that fragile in life, and they need that shit. Like, I don't. These people are people that I watch on my screen and entertain me. And like I said, what happened with Athena, even if I somehow delude myself to think there's something more than just entertainers on my screen, I get over it really quickly, and I realize how wrong I was for feeling so entitled like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I'm about to end it here. That was my rant about parasocial relationships. I hope it makes sense. Just something that's been on my mind lately, and I kind of wanted to talk about it. If you happen to stick to the end of the videos, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.